contributions to Mr. Muhammad too, right? The guy you looked into who got campaign contributions from these LLCs, 35 of them in the same building where the state rep has his law office. That guy you just talked gave contributions to to Ishmael Muhammad, but we did look it up, and he received thousands of dollars from these companies in his building that he may or may not have set up, but you're going to check that out as a good journalist, right?
Welcome back to America Wake. I'm Wilson. That was quite an exchange. What stood out to me wasn't just the discussion about Medicaid fraud. It was Jim Jordan's insistence on asking questions that many people feel are often ignored. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent, taxpayers deserve answers when billions of dollars are involved. Jordan's argument was simple. If lawmakers, business owners, and political donors are connected to organizations under investigation, those connections should be examined regardless of political party. That's called accountability. Today, we're going to break down what happened in this hearing, why Jim Jordan's questions matter, and why this debate is bigger than just one politician or one state. Before we get started, make sure you like this video, subscribe to America Wake, and let me know in the comments, should every politician face the same scrutiny when taxpayer money is involved? Now let's get into it.
Move on for recognize Mr. Jordan for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rosiak, who's Ishmael Muhammad?
Ishmael Muhammad is a state legislator.
State representative in Ohio?
Correct.
Currently serving, right? And is he Somali-American descent?
Yes.
He is. Okay, do you know what his, in addition to serving the legislature, what's his profession, do you know?
A lawyer.
He's a lawyer. You happen to know where his law office is?
Yeah, when I was going through these buildings that were entirely populated by home health care firms, I noticed one thing, one business. I turned to my colleague and I said, we finally found something that isn't a home health care business. It's a law office. And we didn't think anything of it. I later learned that was the Ishmael Law Office, which is also the campaign headquarters.
Somali-American state representative. His law office is 1395, I think 1395 East Dublin Granville Road. And in that same facility, there are 35 of these, what would you call them, $2 million side hustle businesses, right? Where they're ripping off the tax. 35 in that. Do you happen to know if Mr. Muhammad was the lawyer who helped set up these LLCs who were ripping off the taxpayers of the country in the state of Ohio?
I don't know.
Don't know? Probably a fair question to explore. Maybe that's the next thing you can dig into. Find out if he was actually setting these organizations up, right? You know, right across the hall. We'll create this organization. Do you know if any of these organizations gave campaign contributions to Mr. Muhammad?
I didn't look specifically. I wrote about another candidate that owned a home health care business and ran for office, and his campaign was funded largely by fellow home health care owners.
Well, and that guy gave contributions to Mr. Muhammad too, right? The guy you looked into who got campaign contributions from these LLCs, 35 of them in the same building where the state rep has his law office. That guy you just talked gave contributions to to Ishmael Muhammad, but we did look it up, and he received thousands of dollars from these companies in his building that he may or may not have set up, but you're going to check that out as a good journalist, right? You're going to find out if that's the case. Wow, that's amazing. Because we got the chart from the state senator who says Republicans, it's all Republicans, even though they've indicted, I think, 153 indictments, 110 convictions, but somehow it's the Republicans' fault. Oh, but I forgot to ask this question. Was Mr. Muhammad, Ishmael Muhammad, in the General Assembly, whose law office is at the same facility where there are 35 of these HCBS, home community-based services providers, ripping off the taxpayers, is he a Republican or Democrat?
He's a Democrat, and like many of the home health care operators, he also had tax debts when I looked him up. And he also had created a company called the Chiropractic Center, some sort of medical office or another that was apparently running, I guess, out of his law office.
But it's funny because the good senator from Ohio who has the R's for, you know, the red R's there on her chart didn't seem to want to mention Mr. Muhammad, who's right in the middle of this. Literally, his office is right in the middle of it. But no, he didn't. No way Democrats are involved. Here's the pattern I see. And the chairman of the full committee kind of pointed this out. The similarities between Minnesota and, well, first let me ask you this question. Did anyone call you a racist for trying to just uncover what's happening to millions, frankly, as the auditor said, billions of dollars of taxpayer money? Did you get called that?
Yeah, so half of Ohio's budget roughly spent on Medicaid, and that's doubled in the last few years. I tried to ask one healthcare owner, and I have his exact quote in response. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? You don't pay my bills. I'm just going to tell everybody you're racist.
Yeah, that's what always happens. That's how the left operates. I always point out the left has a template. The left will tell a lie. We're actually providing services to elderly Ohioans going into the left will tell a lie. Big media will report, oh, this is wonderful. Big tech will amplify the lie. You tell the truth, they call you racist. It's happened in Minnesota. This is the pattern, and this is what the chairman was getting at. Minnesota, it was the same thing. Fraud on a huge scale. Somali American population involved in it. When they check it out, they call them racist. Only difference is in Ohio, they're actually doing something about it. 153 indictments, 110 convictions. In Minnesota, it was all the U.S. attorneys. It wasn't the state. They didn't do squat. And the reason they didn't do squat, we have the quote. This is a person who worked in the Attorney General's office in Minnesota. There was a perception that forcefully tackling this issue might cause political backlash among the Somali community, which is a core voting bloc. Politics stopped them in Minnesota. It's not stopping Mr. Faber, Mr. Davila from doing their work. The state senator wants to just criticize Republicans, even though the guy in the middle of all this is the Democrat state representative in the same darn building. Okay, did I get anything wrong in that assessment, Mr. Faber?
Congressman, Chairman, no.
All right, I appreciate it. With that, and I want to thank the chairman for his good work on this broad issue and what he's doing. Outstanding member of Congress, we appreciate that. With that, I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. And I now recognize Mr. Walkinshaw from Virginia.
After watching that hearing, I think Jim Jordan raised a point that a lot of Americans can agree with. Accountability should apply equally to everyone. Throughout the exchange, Jordan focused on Ohio State Representative Ishmael Muhammad and the fact that Muhammad's law office was located in the same building as numerous home healthcare businesses that were allegedly connected to Medicaid fraud investigations. What Jordan kept asking was straightforward. Were there connections that deserved more scrutiny? Were certain relationships being overlooked? And if similar circumstances involved someone from the other party, would the reaction be different? Those are fair questions. One thing that stood out to me was Jordan's focus on campaign contributions and political connections. He wasn't claiming to have all the answers. He was pointing out areas that he believed deserved further investigation. That's the purpose of oversight. Another moment that caught my attention was the discussion about being called racist for investigating alleged fraud. Nobody should tolerate real racism. But accusations alone should not stop investigators from following the facts wherever they lead. If taxpayer money is being misused, investigators have a responsibility to ask tough questions. The evidence should decide the outcome, not politics. Jordan also compared Ohio's response to fraud investigations with what happened in Minnesota. His argument was that Ohio officials aggressively pursued cases, while Minnesota officials were more hesitant because of political concerns. Whether you agree with that comparison or not, the larger point is important. Fraud investigations should never depend on who might be offended or which political group could be affected. The law should apply equally to everyone. What seemed to frustrate Jordan most was the idea that some people wanted to frame the issue as belonging to one political party while ignoring information that pointed elsewhere. Americans are tired of double standards. If public officials have connections to organizations under investigation, those connections deserve scrutiny regardless of whether there's an R or AD next to their name. That's not partisanship. That's common sense. At the end of the day, this hearing was about trust. Taxpayers expect government programs to help the people they're intended to help. When allegations of fraud surface, the public deserves transparency and honest answers. That's why Jim Jordan's questions resonated with so many people. He was pushing for accountability, consistency, and equal treatment under the law. You don't have to agree with every point Jordan made to understand the principle behind it. Public officials should never be above scrutiny, and asking tough questions is part of the job. In my view, that's the biggest takeaway from this hearing.